2 of building a compensation plan is job evaluation, the systematic process of determining the relative worth of jobs. The outcome is the development of internal pay structures and hierarchical rankings of jobs. Let's take a look. Building a compensation plan is a simple 7-step process that will ensure your compensation plan is internally aligned, externally competitive, and well managed. The first functional area of building a compensation plan is internal alignment. Internal alignment refers to pay comparisons among jobs or skill levels inside a single organization. Internal alignment ensures robust job analysis and job evaluation are completed and an appropriate pay policy is determined by the organization. Step 2, job analysis, is part of the first functional area of activities, internal alignment, that we just defined. Job evaluation is the systematic process of determining the relative worth of jobs. The outcome is the development of an internal pay structure or a hierarchical ranking of jobs. It's important to define the 2 common approaches for designing base pay structure before we continue our conversation of job evaluation approaches. The first approach, market pricing, uses market pricing data for jobs but without job evaluation points to build a base pay structure. In a market-driven compensation system, the going rate identified by market research is the primary determinant of pay. And then second, a job evaluation approach. This is where we use market pricing data for jobs with job evaluation points. In a job worth system, the primary determinant of pay is the value of the job to the organization. It's this job evaluation approach that we'll focus on as we work through the 7 steps of building a compensation plan. As this graphic shows, a base pay structure is developed using the compensation philosophy and job analysis to drive job evaluation decisions of an organization. The results of job evaluation are used to design base pay structures, including pay grades and pay ranges. After a pay structure is established, individual jobs are placed in the appropriate pay grades and employee pay is determined. Finally, that system is monitored and updated. The 2 general approaches for valuing jobs are job evaluation with an internal focus and market pricing with an external focus, as we just discussed. You'll see those 2 areas here. Job evaluation looks at pay levels within the organization, and market pricing looks outside the organization. Both methods use relative comparisons to determine the worth of jobs for the organization. Externally focused job evaluation is market pricing, while internally focused job evaluation includes ranking, classification, and point factor methods of job evaluation. Remember, job evaluation is a formal, systematic process to determine the relative worth of jobs in an organization. Employers can adopt one of several alternative methods. The ranking method is a simple system that places jobs in order, from highest to lowest, by their value to the organization. This is a qualitative method in which the entire job is considered rather than individual components. The ranking method generally is more appropriate in a small organization that has relatively few jobs. The classification method of job evaluation uses written descriptions of job classes in which each job is put into a grade according to the class it best matches. A major difficulty with this method is the subjective judgments that are needed to develop the class description to place jobs accurately in them. I think of the classification method as bookshelving jobs, that is, putting a job on the appropriate bookshelf in which that bookshelf has a classification description for that job to best fit. It's like how a library would shelve books. The most widely used job evaluation method, the point factor method of job evaluation, looks at compensable factors in a group of similar jobs and assigns weights or points to them. A compensable factor identifies a dimension that is part of every job that can be related to each job. For example, all jobs require some level of education and experience for successful performance. The point factor method is the most popular job evaluation approach because it's relatively simple to use and considers the components of the job rather than the total job. However, point factor systems have been criticized for reinforcing traditional organizational structures and job rigidity. Although not perfect, the point factor method is generally better than the ranking and classification methods because it quantifies job elements. Now let's switch to the external focused. While the point factor method has served employers well for many years, the trend is moving to a more externally focused approach. More companies are moving to market pricing, which uses market pay data to identify the relative value of jobs based on what other employers pay for those similar jobs. Key to market pricing is identifying relative market pay data for jobs that are good matches with the employer's jobs. The switch to market pricing as a part of the strategic compensation decisions of organizations ensures market competitiveness of compensation practices. Those who argue in favor of the popularity of market pricing suggest that a market-based approach, balanced with some internal alignment, will enable more reliable pay grades. However, there will not always be a perfect match for the job in the market. That's why pairing a point factor job evaluation method with market pricing to create a base pay structure is the best of both worlds. Internal alignment is established through careful job evaluation, which determines a point value for each position in the organization. Market pricing is used then as an analysis tool to identify and build a base pay structure that's externally competitive with the identified labor market. Pay grades and ranges are then built based on market data and job evaluation points. We'll explore the technical areas of doing this base pay structure design a little later as we talk about building a compensation plan. For now, go out and confidently evaluate the relative worth of your jobs using an internally focused or an externally focused job evaluation approach.